55 years ago today, crews completed construction of the Gateway Arch. We've been celebrating all month long with a look back at the planning and building of our city's icon. Tonight's Vintage KSDK digs deep into our video archives for the highs and lows of what would become one of our country's most visited monuments. For 2 years and 8 months, the Arch had people looking up in this town. High above the riverfront, our Channel 5 reporter climbed new heights and interviewed the construction workers to get the big story.
We sort of expected a rather hazardous operation this morning, but it went very smoothly. Was that as you expected?
Everything went very well this morning, just as we'd planned.
Big crowds came out on the day the last chunk of the arch was dropped into place. But while so much of the work could be seen from the outside, there were even bigger problems to solve on the inside, like how to get visitors to the top.
And it was a real engineering problem. They contacted big elevator companies who declined. They didn't want to have any part of it. And then they happened to call one elevator company where there was a guy who had stopped off to see a friend, and his name was Dick Bowser.
Bowser's father worked for an elevator company, and in 2 weeks, Dick ended up literally designing the trams in his basement.
We'll start installing capsules the first thing in the morning.
And would you be able to give them a test at that time?
No, it'll be several weeks before we can actually test them out.
Capsules weighing 1,040 pounds that hang from a track and rotate along the curve inside the legs, carrying people to the top. Another feat of engineering, not without hiccups.
Well, there was a problem where the transporters or capsule trains would stop about halfway up. Now that's been corrected?
Yes, one of the problems, of course, in any new system, working out some of the bugs on it.
While huge crowds would eventually turn out for a trip to the top, ticket holders wouldn't get that ride until July 24, 1967, almost 2 years after the arch was completed.
How long have you been in line?
About 3/4 of an hour.
In fact, the entire future of the arch as an attraction had been in question since its completion. It wasn't until the Bi-State Development Agency floated a $3 million bailout that the trips to the top would get going. Even the dedication ceremony wouldn't go as planned. Held 10 months after the tram ride started, a heavy rain forced the crowds into the concourse under the arch. On hand, Vice President Hubert Humphrey and dozens of local dignitaries. A plaque was dedicated, and the people haven't stopped coming ever since.
I think the arch itself is just so timeless. The appearance of the arch, it just doesn't age. It doesn't say this was dreamed up in 1948 or this was built in 1965. It just looks like something that came from outer space, and they just sort of planted it there. It's just an amazing structure.
An everlasting tribute to the men and women who took an architect's idea on paper and brought it to life on the banks of the Mississippi River.
I've been able to interview a lot of the people who actually built it. You know, there's so many stories that they tell, and it's just an amazing group of guys, amazing generation of people who were able to get up on that thing.
They did it swaying in wind and snow, bitter cold, and St. Louis summer heat. Harsh conditions that wouldn't stop a dream set in motion in 1947 and finally completed on October 28, 1965. Architect Eero Saarinen didn't live to see the completion of his masterpiece. He didn't even live to see construction begin on February 12, 1963. Saarinen died on September 1, 1962, while undergoing an operation for a brain tumor. But his memory lives on right here on the banks of the mighty Mississippi.